All right. Well, welcome to week 2, Bib 314 online. I'm actually at home, as you could probably see right now. I'm actually at home with a sick kid, so I'm filming this video from here. Just a quick intro to week 2. In my last video, just on the recap of week 1, which is down at the bottom of the week 1 section on Moodle, you can look at that. I referenced, we used that guiding question, who is Jesus? And I talked a little bit about how Matthew has a unique portrait of Jesus. You had an assignment where you looked at Luke and you compared the birth narratives, right? And you saw that Luke was probably presenting Jesus as maybe something a little bit different than Matthew. And it's the same probably for each of the Gospels. We're looking at Jesus I would say maybe through different lenses. Part of the reason that these authors write a little bit differently is because they're writing to different people. So if you were writing, say, to a Jewish audience, what is the way that you would present Jesus, right? So Matthew actually presents a portrait of who Jesus is. And we're actually taking a little bit deeper of a dive this week into that portrait. So, for example, you've seen how Jesus has come in the line of what we would call the patriarchs, Abraham and Moses, and how he was tempted in the wilderness, and he stayed out there for 40 days. What would the 40 days represent? Well, Matthew is actually making a link back to the Old Testament and Moses, who led the people of Israel, the Israelites, through the desert for 40 years. So there's a link there, right? And there's a particular portrait of Jesus that is emerging from Matthew. So this week we're looking at the baptism of Jesus. So you'll be looking at that and the temptations while Jesus was in the wilderness. I want you to take special note of Reed Crable. Actually, I'll just throw that out there. He does a really good job explaining what the temptations were all about. But also what Matthew is doing here is he's setting up almost the rest of his book, because each of the temptations has to do with a particular people group, right? And Jesus will be having encounters with those people groups throughout the rest of Matthew. This is actually what we would call literary world work, right? So in the literary world, what is Matthew doing here literarily, right? That is making his case for who we should say Jesus is according to Matthew. So we'll also go over the mighty deeds and wonders worksheet as well, which is a huge part of who Jesus is. Matthew is making the case that Jesus has come to bear witness to or to establish the kingdom of heaven. So, or the reign of heaven. What would Jesus be trying to do? Well, the mighty deeds and wonders are a huge part of that. So that's just a little introduction for you. Again, make sure to make your way through there's a section on there that says lesson. Let's see if I could pull it up really quickly. It says lesson, baptism, big and rich, or upside down. That is actually where some of the videos are that you need to see are going to be, and it'll guide you through that. So make sure to look at that. Also, remember, you have a service project that we want you to do, so you need to start setting that up now. I would say, focus, if you can, on serving what we would call, the least of these, right? Somebody who is less fortunate, somebody that really needs the help. And, if you are somebody that serves regularly, maybe pick something else to do in a different context so you can maybe learn something else. You also have the church visit. Now, many of you probably go to churches, but the idea behind this is to maybe experience something new. We would term this as displacing yourself, right? So we go to church and we feel comfortable there. I would say go experience something different, something that's different theologically from you, something that's different ethnically from you, and maybe even socioeconomically from you, and to learn from that context and place. So just a quick introduction for you. Hopefully you are all doing well. I'm praying for you. You can do it. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will sign off and say goodbye for now.